So before you accept a job offer, especially a full-time job offer to become a domiciliary carer, I want you to understand all that you'll be going into before ever signing the contract. Okay, because it requires a lot. Now, do not only accept a job offer because you want to get out of your country, and you have to consider your status. Are you married? Do you have children? Can you really do this job? So here I am today talking to you about certain disadvantages of becoming a domiciliary carer in the UK or elsewhere. My name is Chinyere Ojike and you are sincerely welcome to my channel. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't and like this video so that YouTube can recommend it for other people. Alright, so what is a domiciliary care? Domiciliary care is a kind of care services you provide to people, individuals, both adults, young and children. Though initially it was meant for old people, but currently even children, young adults who have the need to receive care in the comfort of their home have access to, getting or employing a domiciliary carer to come provide these services or support, whichever one they may be needing, in the comfort of their home. Okay, so what do you do as a domiciliary carer? You go into people's homes, from time to time, depending on the number of hours scheduled. It can be for 30 minutes, it can be for 1 hour, it can be for 4 hours, it can be for all day long. I've actually done a domiciliary care job in the past when I was a student. That job, I've always done it once in a week on Tuesdays for 5 hours from 11 o'clock to 4 p.m. or 5 p.m. And I go home, my job is finished. And it was just at a particular place. So what sort of care do you provide to people needing domiciliary care services? One, personal care is the number one on the list. You could also be assisting someone to do household tasks, and you could also be assisting someone to go visit the doctor, go for an appointment. And your roles as a domiciliary carer can actually vary, because today you might be assisting someone with mobility or locomotive issues, and tomorrow you are going to the next client's house to assess the person who has dementia or some other health issues. So it could vary. Generally, your duties as a domiciliary carer, could be you doing medication, helping a client with medication, especially if you are medication trained. If you are not, do not do it. It could also be you helping a client to make food, though Oyibo food is not something that is very hard. It's always an already made meal you could just warm up for the person. It could also be helping the person with like personal care, which involves you helping the person bathing or having shower, toothbrushing, cleaning, dressing up, incontinence, and what have you, even making the person's bed, and they are all included in personal care. It could also be helping the person to go shopping, run certain errands, helping the person with cleaning up the house, doing laundry, arranging the house. This is personal household task. It could also be you providing companionship to your clients. My client in the past, I've never had to do anything personal care for my client then. All I did was to go into my client's house. It was just me providing a companionship. The wife already done everything, got him ready for the day, wear dress. I would just go sit with him, we watch television, we discuss based on, we usually watch the House of Parliament, British House of Parliament, and we used to watch a lot of games. So we discuss together, we make a cup of tea and coffee, drink, my lunch already made by the wife. In fact, I had fun working as a domestic carer, So it might require you just to go in and provide something like emotional support or companionship, communicating with the person. It can also involve you assisting the client with paperwork, such as making bills, and also updating the client's family about the client you are working with, the health status, the needs, so it could really involve a lot. It could also involve you dog walking your client dog, but nobody should send me that because I'm not walking no dog. I don't have the liver. I can't stand the dog. I have phobia for it, So this is why I said you should know the content of your contract agreement before signing and agreeing to go into that. I am coming to the disadvantages and what you have to look at, because recently there's a video about someone complaining she got a sponsorship job here in the UK, but then I believe that such a person didn't really go through the content of her contract before ever taking up that job, because normally a person of her status shouldn't have taken up such a job, considering the fact that she has children to look after, Right, so let's also talk about the advantages of being a domiciliary carer. First, you make a lot of impact in people's life by providing this care services and support to their life. You make them happy, you make them live happily, and it is something satisfying, So secondly, it is a job that wouldn't have you sit on the desk, just like people who work in the office for 9 to 5. No, you have to walk around. And remember that as a domestic carer, you don't have to just work in one place. Yes, some people go into 3 to 4 different homes in a day, so it is something of an advantage, and it is also something of a disadvantage. I'm coming to that bit. And it is a sociable kind of job. You get to associate with a lot of people. Yes, you get to meet different families, you get to talk to people in different background, meet people with different health situations, and you also get trained while doing this job. This is an expansion to the knowledge you already have as a carer. And it's also a job that enables you to work flexible hours depending on when you are available to do this shift. You can agree on it depending if your employer is also flexible and the contract is signed, what it entails. You can work at your own disposal. Maybe when your children are in school, you could go in and do this, cover a shift of from 10 to 2, you go back home, depending on what time your client will be needing you to come in and do the job if you are available for it. One of the major advantages of working as a domiciliary carer is that you provide a focused and a personalized care to your clients. One-to-one care, it's paramount because you are going into someone's home and you know that you are focusing on a particular client, not like working in the care home, working in the hospital setting in certain places where there are 1, 3, 4 to 10 or even 20 residents in such a home, but you are just going to be providing care to one person. Once you are done with the person, you are done with the person. So it's a more of focused and personalized care. Coming to the disadvantages, or why people might be skeptical of taking up a job as a domiciliary carer, is this. One, the fear of unknown, because you will be going into different people's home at a different intervals. You are not certain about your client's behavior. You are not certain about the environment. You are not certain about, your client's routine. What kind of person are you going to be meeting today? Would this person even like you, to attend to him or her? The fear of unknown is common, unlike someone who goes into a residential home or a care home where you are used to the clients or the residents there. Because every day as a domiciliary carer, you go into a different home, or you might repeat visiting a particular home, but be rest assured that the person you see today might be different from the home you might be going into tomorrow. The next concern people have is the pay. The pay is a bit low. The average pay can be £10.50 per hour, though it's definitely above the minimum wage. But the thing is this, if you are concerned about the pay, you can adjust your expenses, and besides, you do not earn up to that in your home country. So I am not being offensive or sarcastic here, but you might have to consider this and adjust your expenses to be able to manage. And as time goes on, your pay per hour or your salary might increase depending on the number of work experience you have gathered. So the next point is the expenses. Coming from overseas to do this job, most at time or often at times, not all the employers would want to cover all your expenses. Expenses like the COS, some of them would want you to pay for it. But even when the government said this, an intending employee should be able to get the COS for free, and they would also want you to pay your medical expenses, and even when they would want to pay for this, they would have a plan to be deducting this from your salary. But some people are lucky to find employers who will be able to, to cover all these expenses, even health insurance for them before they come into this country. Next concern is this: a lot of domiciliary carers, they don't get paid for their traveling time. Yes, for instance, you work for 13 hours and you get paid for 5 hours. Why? Because the number of time or the amount of time you used to drive from place A to place B, possibly you drive for 1 hour, 30 minutes or 2 hours to your next client, you don't get paid. Not all the companies, some of them they do pay, but quite a number of them do not pay for your traveling time. And this can be so demoralizing, So it's something you have to check to ensure that you understand the terms in your contract before signing it. If your client or if your employer is the type that wouldn't pay for mileage for your traveling time, I don't think it's right for you to take up that job, but also understand that a domiciliary carer go from home to home. For instance, in a day, you can go into 2 or 3 different homes to cover a shift. Unlike those who work in care home, if they are doing 13 hours, they are doing it right in this very house, right in this very building, but you as a domiciliary carer, you can go from Port Harcourt to Lagos, from Abuja to wherever, in different states to cover a shift in a day. It can be so exhausting. The final point is this: if you are married, you have a family, you have little ones you are looking after, I don't think taking up a job as a domiciliary carer in the UK would be okay, especially if you want to go into it as a full-time carer. I don't think it's wise. Because as a full-time carer, you are expected to work for 38 to 40 hours. Somebody said they gave her 42 hours, So as a mom who has a little baby or little children you are looking after, taking up a full-time job as any kind of full-time job in the UK with little ones, I don't think it's a good advice. And remember, if a company is employing you from international, from overseas, they are paying for all the COS, everything about your coming in here, not entirely, but at least 60 to 70% of all the requirements for you to come in here. They expect you to work 35 to 40 hours a week. And this you cannot achieve working for them on a part-time basis. So you have to think twice before ever accepting to become a domiciliary carer, and consider your traveling time to go from client A to client B, and consider your child you left at home, so you're better off taking a part-time job if you have children to look after in this very country. A full-time job might not be a good idea for you until your children grow into school age, from 5 years or 10 years and above. All right, guys, I hope you find this video very interesting and helpful. Please subscribe to my channel and like this video if you haven't. Thanks, and see you again in my next upload. Bye for now.